So here's another DIY from the retired guy. Today's project is I'm working on my gas fireplace. So this house is 25 years old. We moved in about 7 months ago, and it's December. Had a 25-degree day yesterday, and I turned the fireplace on, lit the pilot. The only thing I know about this fireplace is what little I've learned this summer. I noticed the pilot light was on, so I pulled the bottom rack off the fireplace and turned the pilot light off and turned the gas off. So yesterday, super cold morning, I lit the pilot, no problem, flipped the switch on the wall for the fireplace, it lit right up, and ran it for about 2 or 3 hours. First time ever using it. And worked fine. Then my wife and I ran some errands. I'd shut it off when we left the house. Came back in, I was showing her how to turn it on, just flipped the switch on the wall, and it didn't light. So I flipped the switch a couple times, and it lit, and then I walked away. 20 minutes later, came back, it was off. It had gone out. The pilot light was still lit, but the logs were not lit, or the gas underneath the logs were not lit. So I messed around with it again, flipping the switch on and off, on and off. Finally, it lit again and stayed lit. I don't know, for about 20 minutes, and then I just shut it off and decided, hey, I'm as lazy as the next guy. If something's working, I don't mess with it. But after that, I said, I need to understand this thing. And so that's today's project, to understand why it's not lighting. And basically, I'm just going to take it out, take the logs out, clean everything. I did a little research yesterday on YouTube. The way these things work, when I was turning the switch on yesterday, I thought, wow, it's not lighting. Is this thing filling up with gas? Is it gonna, just, like a gas grill, all of a sudden blow, kapoof, light up? So I chose to turn it off. I didn't hear any gas, didn't smell any gas, so I was pretty confident there was no gas flowing. But I don't understand how they work. So I did looked at a couple YouTube videos yesterday, and apparently there's a micro valve, micro switch, and I'm not gonna try to understand all this, but the little I know is there's a thing called a thermal pile, which has to be heated evenly by the pilot light, and that thermal pile operates a micro switch, millivolt, super low voltage, so you can handle it. You can touch the wires and jumper wires. On these YouTube videos, guys are jumpering out, the thermal pile and the thermal couple, and I'm not going to get into all that. I know it worked. I'm assuming, just from what I saw yesterday, when I lit the pilot underneath the logs, there's a lot of dust and 25 years of dust and debris. So the project today is just to clean this thing out. But the thermal pile has to be evenly heated, and then that activates a switch in the micro valve, which lets the gas flow to the burners. The pilot light will ignite that gas. So that's all I want to understand. I'm not going to go jumpering stuff out. I'm just going to clean the thermal pile. It looks like if it doesn't heat evenly, it won't activate the switch to the micro valve that lets the gas flow to the log. So that's the project today. I'm just going to clean everything, put it all back together, understand it, where the thermal pile, if there's a thermal couple, I don't know if there's a thermal couple in there or not, but that's what I'm doing today. Fireplace, I have the pilot off. I turned everything off last night to let everything cool, because I decided last night I was gonna start working on this. So I got a moving blanket down, an old shower curtain. I'm gonna take these logs out of here, figure out how to get this glass off of here. It's dirty, needs to be cleaned. And I looked at that yesterday when it was working, when I didn't realize there was a problem, and thought, I should probably clean that, but thought, it's working, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, I'm not messing with it. Well, now that I'm going to be tearing into it, I'll clean this glass after I figure out how to get it out of there. But that's the fireplace, and then there's 3 switches. This is the blower, and this is the one for to activate the gas, and I have no idea what this switch does. So under here is where the controller is. It just pulls open, and in here is my the valve to light the pilot light, the igniter that sends a spark to ignite the pilot light. So currently I have my gas valve turned to off. There's a little red dot down there which shows you the orientation of the dial. And then I have the main gas line shut off. So you can see all the dust and debris and parts. I don't know what, there's parts laying under here. So I'm gonna vacuum, clean all this crap out of here, and then figure out how to get this glass off here, and then take the logs out and get at that thermal pile that's part of that switching system and clean it. So that's where we're headed. All right, first thing we're gonna do is some cleaning. Now we need to figure out how to get this glass out of here. Looks like this folds up. Screws here, 1, 2, 3. And I think the bottom is just 3 clips. I'm thinking it just sits in these clips and then screws in these 1, 2, 3 Phillips head screws. So that's what I'm gonna try. These are little unusually long screws. I think this should just lift up and out. All right, even though I'm filming this, I'm gonna take a few pictures of these log arrangements. I don't know if there's any significance in how these are laid in there, but doesn't look like it. They're just super light. I thought they'd be, oh wait, yeah, there are little pins. I guess where they get assembled. These are almost like styrofoam. And these look like just little, I don't know, maybe ceramic dowels. Or I think there is a pattern with how they're meant to go together. So this is the thermal pile that is supposed to be heated evenly by the gas. This is the pilot where the gas is kind of pushed out in 3 directions. And this is a thermal couple. Don't know what the purpose of that is because I don't have an adjustment on this. I don't think there's any, I don't see any settings where you can change the temperature, so I'm not sure why. And then this is the igniter down in here where the spark comes out when we hit it. See the spark that comes out and lights the pipe. So I took these 2 little screws out of the side of this shield right here. These 2 little screws are in this, holding this shield in. It'll just lift up so I can get around this thermal pile. I've got some old 100 grit sandpaper. Just old pieces I had in my shop that will fit around that thermal pile easily, and because they're worn in, shouldn't be a problem with being too aggressive. So I'm trying to be kind of gentle, not bang around that igniter, which is right next to it, because I know the igniter was working fine. I think the whole idea, like I said, I don't know crap about these. My first time messing with a gas fireplace, but I think this thing has to heat evenly 360 degrees. And with that buildup on there, it's certainly not going to heat evenly. Thermal couple. And I guess you can get replacement parts for these. Like I said, I wouldn't know where to buy them or how to spec them. So I'm going to try cleaning them first and see what that does. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to try to light the pilot. So gas is on. Pilot. And then you hold it in to get the gas flowing. I can hear it flowing. And it lit first push of the igniter. So I'm still holding the pilot button in, which you're supposed to do to clear the air out for like 30 seconds. And what you want is a blue flame. So far that looks pretty blue. All right, letting go of the pilot. Stayed on, good. Now I'm going to turn it to on. So I got this now to on. And the pilot looks good. All right, let me see if it'll fire up. So I turn the switch on the wall. Nothing. So the switch on the wall is turned on. So that should be lighting. It should be lighting right now, but it's not. It didn't light. Now I'm gonna put the shield back on there and see if that makes a difference. All right, I put that shield back in there. So let me try this again. Push it in, hear the gas. Lights first time. Hold it in for a couple seconds. All right, I'm gonna let go of the pilot. All right, hasn't gone out. Now I'm gonna turn it to on. Let me flip the switch. Nothing. Flip it again. Nothing. But there's no gas coming in now, even with the switch turned on. So after it didn't light, I went to my wall switch. And these are low volt, millivolt. So I took these two wires out, touched them together, and nothing happened. So I bypassed the switch, so it told me it wasn't the switch. So then I started tracing wires, you know, to the switch, to the gas valve. These are the wires that operate this valve based on that thermal pile and thermal couple. And in the process, I noticed these two wires came up to a switch here. I'm not sure what apparently the the glass has to be on. This is some sort of safety switch. That I can only imagine that the glass, when it goes in here, maybe activates this switch. Apparently the glass is making this switch. So I made this switch, just stuck my screwdriver adapter in there, and then go ahead and flip that switch, the wall switch, and there it is. So it lit. So apparently this little switch wasn't made. Now I'm going to take this out, and that shuts it off.
But the light's still going.
And my switch on the wall is on, so when I activate this switch, there it goes. So the problem was the switch wasn't being made. So I'm glad I dug into this. Now I understand it. Now I understand. Looking at videos, I didn't see anybody else that had this other switch. They were all going right from the wall switch down to the wiring under here to the thermal pile and the thermocouple. And so I'm glad I noticed the switch. And I'm glad it was just a switch not being made. So that should be an easy one to figure out. Just a mechanical issue. Now when I put that glass back in, I'll figure out why it wasn't making that switch. Okay, faithful assistant, you can turn that switch off.
All right, accomplished.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
I love you. Okay, I've relit the pilot. Put the logs back in. I should have taken more pictures as I disassembled them. Because it was like a jigsaw puzzle trying to figure out which one went where with just the picture of the whole mess. All right, so now I've got the switch on. The wall switch is on. I'm going to activate door switch, which I think it is. Let's see if this thing lights. There it is. I wanted to test it before I put the glass back together. All right, so I'm going to release this switch. Shuts off. I'll shut the wall switch off and then clean the glass and put it back. So there's that switch right here. So it's made now. This tab from the part of the glass makes that switch. And I think the problem was, so the original problem was these holes didn't line up with the holes in the frame for the glass. So it had to be lifted up to get the bolt in there. I'm choosing to leave. It's really just needs one bolt to keep it, in fact, keep it from falling forward. So I got one in the middle. I was able to get one without lifting it up off that switch. And I started one here, but I'm gonna leave it right like that. I'm not gonna screw it all the way in, and I'll probably strip the screw anyhow, because I don't wanna lift it up off the switch. I could stick something in there, and maybe there was something in there, a spacer, but that one in the middle is all that's needed to secure this thing. And I can get that decorative piece closed, no problem. So we're good. All right, the pilot is lit. And this thing should turn on with just, I gotta put the switch back in the wall, but there it goes. So yeah, there's a stupid switch down there, which seems kind of ridiculous to have on there because It's not like this is a glass you can just pop out. I mean, you've got to remove screws and, so we're good. Put the switch back in and we are good to go.